provincial expos, investment expos. We have the Luapula Expo, the Central Expo, and the Northern Expo. Now, these expos are aiming to actually fulfill pillar number 3 of the 7 NDP of reducing developmental inequalities, because mostly they are showcasing the potential in that province and calling for investors. Now, we want as much as possible for Zambia to have investments. Now, if you look at some of these rural areas, as we speak, they do not have access to electricity. The national grid has actually not serviced some of these areas. So here we are looking at a policy that aims to attract as many investors as possible in a locality, but without reliable energy, without national grid there, what will draw the investors to come and invest in such an area? So for us, that is our concern. We want to complement that part which the government is actually working on and ensure that as much as possible we speed up with various interventions and various lessons from best practice. That would ensure that we speed up the rate at which we are electrifying our nation, that we speed up the rate at which we have a rich energy mix, that we speed up the rate at which we speed up reforms in the energy sector. There are various studies that are being undertaken by ZESCO, cost of service study, and all the others. All these things need to be almost concluded now. I think now we should be looking at implementation. So we have had all the talking and the paperwork. We believe that it is time to act. And basically for us as Pmrc, we do not just only produce this analysis, but we follow up with reform proposals that we take to the Ministry of Energy, to Parliament, with the Internet Committee that deals with energy, as well as to ZESCO themselves, and tell things as they are.
The economy is growing, populations are growing, and electrification continues to grow. And so when you look at the challenges as highlighted by our head of research from 2016, the kind of load shedding that we experienced, you will see that research shows that we lost about 20% of GDP from those power disruptions that we had. And therefore, in the current space, the government needs to look to increased investments from independent power producers. We also face significant challenges in attracting independent power producers. Some of the challenge, as highlighted earlier, is the below cost tariffs that we have had in the country. I think Pmrc has been doing work as far back as 2014 and highlighting the challenge of having electricity tariffs which are below cost. And so beyond the tariffs, we have the regulatory framework and procurement processes, I think, which have bottlenecks in the entire system. And so when we look at the challenges, we will see that the country has undergone economic transformation over the last 25 years. That has seen incomes grow. National income has actually tripled in the last 25 years, and the country has been reclassified as a middle income country. And so in trying to bring the role of the private sector in investing in Zambia's electricity sector, you will note that the 7th National Development Plan is very explicit, and there's widespread agreement that we have sufficient resources for generation, including hydropower, solar, biomass, geothermal, as well as coal. The challenge, of course, is in getting investment in power plants that can convert these resources into useful electricity. So the government should establish procurement function alongside the planning function, which has oversight on all procurement of independent power producers, and this will result in increased oversight, which would improve transparency over contract negotiations and bring commercial specialists together. So the other variable lesson is creditworthiness of the off-taker. We are all alive to the fact that government is making strong efforts to try and make ZESCO a viable entity. Recently, I think we had 2 statements from the Office of the President as well as from the Office of the Secretary of the Cabinet highlighting the need for reforms, though we would require more details on how these reforms are being implemented after a diagnostic study was done to try and improve operations
Bearing in mind that there's been misinformation and information gap between government and the citizenry, general citizenry, and obviously this is made through channels such as ourselves and the media, because of perhaps sometimes our government officials are engaged in other official duties and there's no representation. So whoever may actually emerge and say, I'm an expert, they can say what they want to say and people take it as gospel truth because no one is there to give factuals. Our job as a policy think tank, Honorable Minister, is to provide decision makers such as yourselves at all levels with the necessary evidence that will inform policy processes in order to achieve social and economic development. So beyond this mandate, Pmrc has an obligation to equip the general citizenry with up-to-date policy information that empowers to make informed decisions and better interact with leaders. It is for this reason that we thought it cardinal to provide a power sector roadmap aimed at delivering the country's electricity needs. And some of the major highlights in this publication that we're about to launch is the role of private sector investment in Zambia's electricity sector, accelerating investment in energy, lessons from comparative experiences. And I think this is a slide that the researcher, Mr. Akabondo, shared with us. Recommendations for sustainable energy reforms, and he highlighted those. Analysis into independent power producers scenario and status of energy projects in the country.
I'd also like to recognize Mr. Akabondo Abichan, the researcher. I sat here for a short while and I was listening to your presentation. I think it's very accurate presentation. Half the time you go to places, you find people are giving you numbers that you don't have in your ministry. But the numbers that you are showing us and the presentation was excellent. I think we need to give you a round of applause. It gives me great joy and pride to be part of this very important event to mark the launch of this timely and articulate publication by the Policy Monitoring and Research Center. The years 2017 and 2018 have been significant for Zambia's energy sector. As we embark on energy sector reforms, critical for Zambia development, it is in this regard that we need active citizens and stakeholders who fully understand and participate in the process of reforming our energy sector. As government, we are committed to ensuring that no one is left out in the development agenda of our country. Further, we are committed to uphold good governance, values and ethics as we proceed to reform our energy sector while observing the fundamentals that are critical for success in this sector, with strong commitment to providing vital social safety nets for the poor. Today, we witness the launch of an important publication titled Energy Roadmap, Delivering Zambia's Energy Needs. I wish to take this opportunity to commend the Policy Monitoring and Research Center for this well thought out research and publication that will indeed go a long way to provide policy support in the energy sector and the education of people of Zambia in understanding energy policy reforms and the future of Zambia's energy sector. Ladies and gentlemen, with these remarks, I will now want to officially launch the research report titled Energy Roadmap, Delivering Zambia Energy Needs. God bless you and I thank you.
I'd like to invite you once again to, for ceremonial purposes, to cut the ribbon. Only woman. Now please join us. We have organized this one.
To the development of the energy sector in Zambia. Cheers.